Okay, I just thought I'd do a quick video here on replacing the hot end on a Creality Ender 3 printer. I was working with mine the other day and I somehow stripped the threads on the block where the tip goes in, and kind of stripped it out, so it's easier to replace. I've done it before. I've replaced it before. It's pretty simple to install, just to do the whole hot end. And so I've ordered, again, I got it from Amazon, came for like 17 bucks, and which is here. Now it's slightly different. It's got this is the heater block, and it has the tip on it. This is what I stripped out here, screwed that up. This particular kit comes with a new hot end and all the wires that go connect it, as well as some extra for these blocks, which is great. There's like 4 of them in there, and protective covers. And I got this all for like 70 bucks. That was pretty good. And just as an added little fun thing that came with it, which is kind of cool, they sent along a little plastic Spider-Man. It's got little sticky feet that you throw against the wall, and it kind of walks down, kind of like you get out of a machine, those little bubble machine things. So, it's kind of fun to have that in there. It made me smile when I saw it in the package. So on back to the Ender 3, mine is modified from the standard configuration for the Ender 3. Sorry if you hear a printer in the background. They've got a CR10 behind me that's in the middle of printing, so I'm sure my sound won't be real great. But my thing has been modified to a direct feed system, so this has been replaced. There used to be injection over here at a Bowden tube that went over to mine on the original. I modified it so I could run TPU as well as PLA and those. And so it's here. I've got no filament in it right at the moment, and you're looking at the back of it. Of course, the other side of it is over here. It's hard to show. Maybe I can get it around. Hopefully you can see it from there. I can't really see the screen, so back in here. And mine has also it had aluminum originally up here for this piece in the modified version, and it wore through pretty easily. And so I put the old plastic one back on, and I've kind of modified it with some aluminum tape and some other stuff. So a piece of metal wire to help guide it in there. So mine is kind of boob McNutted, I guess, a little bit. And of course this is different. This plate is different, the way that it mounts, because it allows the extruder to be mounted on this side. So if you're doing a standard Ender 3, it won't be the same. I've also got a BL Touch system on this, which mounts to this bracket here. This is this here, and then this bracket for the BL Touch mounts to this bracket that is a replacement bracket for the direct thing. So that's going to be different from a factory. On mine, really, I need to take out just one screw to get that. I got to take, first thing to do is take the fan shroud off, and so I'll go do that. I can't really do it while holding the camera, so I'll do that, and then you'll see the inside of it. I don't know if y'all can see that, where the screwdriver goes. That's where my screw is that goes in, that holds the fan shroud on. Fortunately, the kit that I got for the direct extrusion really wasn't that great a quality, or I had a bad one. This metal strips out very easy, and I've had to, again, kind of come up with some creative ways to get it situated. I get a longer screw here on this one. I got there, the screwdriver is. I take that one thing out that's also on the bracket for the BL Touch here, And then the fan shroud, just to take it off and set it off to the side. So, okay, I have the fan shroud off, which is there. And then you see the whole mess that is what on the inside, which is my the heater core. And I've got that's Kapton tape, that's heat tape that's holding wires on there, and this is toasted. What a mess. I've had a couple fairs where the stuff is wrapped around the stuff. It looks like some of it's still in there. I haven't had this off in a while, I guess. But underneath there is where I got that strip, and I could probably just replace that lock, but since I've got the pieces, I'm going to do the whole thing. And I've also propped this up, make it easier for me. I propped up the arm on a box. Actually, I think it's a box from my car for the camera, the phone mount. Anyway, I've got that underneath there to hold it up, and that helps keep it up so I can see it, and also keeps it from wear and tear on some of the stuff of it going up and down with me messing with it. So that's just what I did. And then so what the next step is really is to, let me get the other one ready, but you remove these two, and this fitting and this whole thing will drop out. Now of course I got to run the wires for where they connect for these, and you can see they're already in the new one, these wires here, and they're down in this block. I could probably just take those out and just replace the block, but I think while I'm doing it, since I get the new one, I'm going to do the whole thing. But that's the next step I'm going to work on. I'll show this too, more as a reminder probably for myself, but for anybody has a standard Ender 3, it's going to look a bit different because you won't have these wires here. Get the camera to focus. There it goes. That go down to the BL Touch, and they run along this. I've got them routed along this. You could run them inside the wire limb. They're running around there, and then they go down back in here. These are the wires that we're concerned with. These two, the red and the black, go down to this, and they'll come up here. And then I replaced it before, so this may look a little bit different than the factory. I don't remember how it was. I got to cut these wire ties down along here and then disconnect the connector. So I'm going to turn this thing around. I don't know how far these wires go down. They go down this wire loom to a ways and then connect. So that's my next step, to do that before I disconnect, take out these screws. So I got everything loose. Okay, I've got most of the wire ties cut. I guess I got a few more down the back. You can see the light bouncing around. I'm sorry, I've got my headlight, got a headlamp on so I can see a little bit better, so it may really mess with the camera or something. But it comes down through here, and then the red wires, I've got the heater block out here, and then these are the wires. That's the thermistor wire, which is the white one, and then the red ones, I believe, are the actual heater powered wires, and they're both red. And then of course this replaces these two here. You take these two out and then bolt it in, and it's pretty easy replacement. The wiring is just the more difficult part. It's just getting it out. The wires come down here and then go through the wire loom and then down, and then they go into the box, which is where the processor is down there. So we get to take off the panel. I've got the move forward, and these have to come off. There's one here, and then there's two here up front, and they're like I think it's like a number 2 bit out of my you can see that or not. Two bit out of out of my set. And I've got this nice set that I got off of Amazon. That's I use for about all my tech work and even some of my automotive work. So it's really a nice set. And I get these little rubber holders. So I got that. We got this forward, and I'll move these screws. And then we get the wires, those wires out, and the new ones in. So that's the next step. I will do that before. We could replace this first, but then have wires run on. I think I'm just going to disconnect the wires first and then go from there. Sorry, all this looks like such a mess too, because I'm bouncing the phone around and nothing's clean very well. So. Alright, we get the plate off now. You can see how the wires come into this, and here and go to this distribution block right there. So these are the two wires need to be replaced. If you're wondering what this is why this isn't connected. That's the X-axis switch, which you disconnect when you use the BL Touch. Also, with the BL Touch, I can show you this too, I guess, while I'm here. This riser is also in here because of that, which is really kind of a pain in the rear when I put the thing together, because the plate, there's the top plate. And you put it on here, there's a fan that mounts on the underside of this, and it hits this for whatever reason. So I remounted mine. There's a grill on the side of this, and I put it in this way, so it's on the side of the thing now, and it seems to work great. So, but that's just something if you ever go to do that part of it. Also, one other thing, was make sure. Always make sure that you get it unplugged when you're working on it. That's a big thing. And also, you want to have a place to store your parts, or to make sure you organize your screws and stuff. I got these grip mats, which work fantastic. My brother got me these for Christmas a year or so ago. There's 3 of them in a set, or the set that I have, and they work great. They almost stick in place, and you can organize screws. Right now there's the 3 screws from the top plate, and that's the screw that I have to use for my fan that I had to move McNutt with because the hole got stripped out. So during the addition of the directed feed. So that's where we're at now. I just want to cover those things, and now I've got to get these wires out of here and the new ones routed in. So that's my next step. Yeah, I forgot to mention this, but the other wire we're looking for that goes down this wire loom is for the thermocouple. And that goes down, also down here, it's black, it goes down. I've got it right through the wire loom and down, and then it comes back in, and it's the one that's plugged in to this like the motherboard, the one right at the end. So it's, if you can see it very well down there or not, but can't get it lit, and I'm trying to hold the camera and all this stuff one time, but it's right there. So you can disconnect it there and pull it through the wire and run the other one back through there. On this one that I'm going to put in, that wire is white, it looks like. It's this connector there, which, so one's black and one's white on the particular one. It depends on what you've got for yours. Just wanted to mention that. I've got the black thermocouple wire out. It's here. There's the plug is up there. Now the red wires, which is here, they go into this little terminal block right there on the end. It's these two wires, and there's 2 screws. So you need a little small. Change my bit to a little bladed screwdriver, and those 2 screws there, release it, the tightness on it, and then you just pull that through the same way we did the black wire. Got those out now. There, that and the thermocouple wire and the power for here. core, and go here, and then the block will come out, and then we'll reverse the procedure, putting the other one back in. Now, one thing too, when you get these through, you have to pull them through this wire loom, or that's just what I had them. Or you could, I guess, you could wire time to the outside. Going through the loom is better. Just when you do most of the stuff, don't yank. Pull them through very slowly, and work them through the wire loom. Don't just grab them at the end and just give them a huge yank. You'll pull a whole bunch of other stuff loose. So, which is easy to do when you get frustrated, I know, because I do the same thing. But you just got to work it out carefully. Okay, I just decided, sorry, in the middle of all this, to change things around a little bit. But I noticed that I want to put it into the block down there, and the wires aren't, for the new heater and the old heater, aren't quite the same gauge. I don't know if you can see those or not. This one here is the old one, and the one to the left is the new one. And they don't, even with the screw down all the way in the terminal, this will just slide right out, the new one. So I'm going to try to swap out, I guess, the heater element, switch them between the two, and then use the old one, because there wasn't anything wrong with it, with this. And then so redo the wire. So I've run the wires through the wire loom. We've already done that. That's okay. I'm just going to go back and redo that part, so I'm not going to re-show all that. And now have the old one off. This is the one I'm going to replace. It is roasty toasty. It's the one that had the strip threads underneath. Look at the camera focus. Boy, was it a mess. It had several accidents where stuff got wrapped around it. I've had to cake it out of there. It's been through the wars. But I'm going to try to get the heater element out of it and put it into the other one, because you can see the difference in the wires I showed you a minute ago. So I'll be taking, this is the wires from the new one, and I'll be taking that one out and replacing it with the one out of here. So let's see if I can do that. Well, it took a little bit of work, but I was able to get the heating element here out of the other roasty toasty heater block. Probably could have just used this again, as I said, but I used the new one. And this is the thing here, and I was able to get it out of there, and I'm just going to swap it over to the new one, since the gauge of the wire seems to be different. So that's the next step. I've got the heater out of the new one, which is this one here. This is the old one, and you can see, if you look carefully at the wires, they are slightly different gauge. It's just a little bit. This one versus that one. So I'm going to use the old one and see, because it seems to work better, fit better in the block. I got the wires run again, down. These are a little bit longer, but I got them down into the block, if you could see. Well, you can see that down in there. And then I've got them wire tied so that they kind of stay put with, not pull out of those blocks. They're pretty tight in there now. Okay, I've got the shroud back on, the fan, all reconnected, wires run, re-wire tied around the edge, and getting the wires, make sure the wires are clear and out of the way. Let's move back into position, and I've got it pretty level. Now I got to just level everything else. So you level this, and you also want to do your offset, your Z offset, your tips, and so there all this stuff is different. And hopefully from there, we get it to go. So my next step is plug the power back in and and level everything. Thing that I wanted to check then was to make sure that I got the heating thing right in the block, and I set it to just do a preheat, and it's preheating the tip, so I get that part correct. And then do this, and then we'll go to the leveling. Okay, now we're getting ready to calculate the offset. So in order to do this, you auto home, and then you go down to prepare, move axis, move Z, and down to 0.1, and then you move it down until it's just barely touching. Put a piece of paper under there until the tip is just barely touching the piece of paper. Once you do that, check your reading, write that number down, and that is A. For here it was, mine was plus 0.5. Once you got that, you go back up to main menu, and you go to control, motion, and then your Z offset. And the Z offset is B, and this was, here it was minus 3.21. And then you add these two numbers, these new numbers together, C becomes your new offset. So it's minus 2.71, which is what we've got now. And then as you notice, the other was zeroed out. You go back out of here, you go to control, down, store the setting, hit store setting, which I've already done, and then back to main, and then I'm going to do an auto home now. Do an auto home, and then I'm going to do a bed leveling, which is the next one down, and then we're going to try a test print.